Hey everybody, Suzanne here with Caregiver Haven. So let me ask you this. Have you ever found yourself in a tug of war with your aging parent and you're trying to help, but every conversation turns into a power struggle and your senior feels just as frustrated as you do? And you walk away drained thinking, I'm the one losing patience here and I hate that? If that sounds familiar, then today's video is for you. Because we're talking about 3 things that you must stop doing immediately if you want fewer outbursts, less tension, and a calmer relationship with your loved one who has dementia or memory loss or any kind of cognitive decline. And by the end of this video, you'll not only know what not to do, but you'll know what to do instead. Before we dive in, I just want to remind you, get my free weekly newsletter, if you're not already signed up, the Haven Insider, for quick caregiver insights delivered right to your inbox. And if you're brand new to caregiving, then you can grab my Caregiver Starter Guide, and it's linked below for you. So pick that up, and you'll be all set to see what's ahead of your caregiving journey. All right, well, let's get to it. What about this? What do we do? The first habit to stop. Don't argue with your senior. And here's the thing. When someone has dementia or cognitive loss or memory loss, reasoning and memory don't work the way they used to. So when your parent or your loved one says something that isn't true, like you stole my purse, it's tempting to correct them or defend yourself. But that backfires. It absolutely does. Why? Because to them, that is their truth in the moment. I'll repeat that. That is their truth in the moment. They believe that you stole their purse. And if you argue, you're actually challenging their reality. And that is only going to lead to confusion and fear and agitation. And you don't want to go down that road. There's nothing there for you. So let's look at an example. Mary's father kept losing his wallet, and every few days he accused her of stealing it. And at first she said, Dad, you've lost it again. You always put it in the kitchen drawer. And that logical explanation, well, it just made him more upset. And finally she tried something new. And so she said, oh no, Dad, that's frustrating. Let's look together. You check your chair and I'll check the kitchen. And they found it together and the tension disappeared. The difference, she stopped trying to win the logic war and she started protecting the relationship. So the next time you want to argue, pause and ask, is it worth the battle or can I meet them where they are instead? It's such an easier way to do it. And there's resources in the National Institute on Aging on coping with agitation, aggression, and sundowning and Alzheimer's, all sorts of good information. Okay, let's talk about the second habit. Stop correcting them. Okay, so even though we don't want to argue with them, we also don't want to correct them. So this one kind of surprises caregivers. And the reason it does is we think that if we explain it, they'll understand it. But if your dad says, I have to get to work before noon, and you correct him with, Dad, you don't work anymore, remember? You're retired. You've just pulled the rug out from under his sense of reality. It goes back to his truth. To him, that job feels very real. He's living in that moment where he had that job. And now he feels embarrassed, he feels lost, and he might even feel angry. So try this instead. Say, that's great, Dad. Tell me about your day. Then gently redirect, maybe to a photo, a memory, or a lunch. Jim, who is one of my readers, used this approach with his mom. She kept talking about needing to get to the office. And instead of correcting her, he said, I think your meeting got canceled. You want to grab lunch before your next one? Instant calm. She smiled, and they spent the afternoon talking about her favorite coworkers and people who hadn't existed for decades, but they still lived vividly in her heart. And many of you feel that if you say something like that to your loved one, they're going to say, well, I don't work anymore. No, no, no. They think they do. And so what if they say, I don't work anymore? Why are we talking about this? They've come back to our reality. Okay. And you can say, oh, I'm sorry. They forgot that they were thinking they were working. It's just not a big deal. Go with the flow. Go with where they're at. Meet them at their reality and just use that until they maybe even come back to our reality and recognize that that's not the situation. So it's not about being right. It's about being kind. And it's about avoiding arguments or embarrassing our loved one. Okay, the next thing is habit number 3. We try to reason with our loved ones. And that third habit, where we try to reason with them, you can't talk somebody out of dementia. You can't talk them out of it. Their brain isn't wired for logic anymore. So if your loved one insists that someone is trying to steal their remote or their wallet and you say, no one's stealing anything, stop it, you're escalating that fear. It's not easing it at all. So try this. You sound really worried. Let's walk to the kitchen and grab a snack, and then I'll check on the remote for you. See, these things stick in their mind, and they might ask it 1,000 times a day because those molecules and those chemicals in the brain is just stuck there like nailed right to the memory chain, and it just won't leave them. It's like you having a song in your head that you can't get rid of. Think about it that way. If you've ever had a song or a tune in your head you can't get rid of, what do you have to do to get rid of it? You have to listen to some other song. You have to unravel that chemical reaction that's causing you to stick with that song over and over and over again, right? You have to put something else there to get rid of that tune. Well, they have dementia. It's a disease. That thing that they're fixated on is going to keep coming up. It can't unravel anymore. It's their truth. It's their reality. So acknowledge their emotion, not the claim, redirect gently, and give their nervous system time to settle. Experts will often say that with dementia, it's like swimming upstream. You'll exhaust yourself and you'll still go nowhere. So don't even try to do that. Just breathe through it and let it go. So let's add a few more quick never say reminders. You already told me that. Don't say that. It may be the 5th time for you, but it's the first time for them. Or they're saying, or you say, you're not making sense. That just deepens their shame. They're embarrassed. Or you say something like, well, you already told me that. That embarrasses them. Even many of us, even without dementia, will sometimes we forget who we told what story to. And instead of saying, stop me if I've already told you this, we just go ahead and blurt it out and we tell it. And somebody says, oh, you already told us that. And it's embarrassing, okay? But we don't remember. And then sarcasm or jokes about confusion. What really feels like humor to you feels like humiliation to them. So don't use it. And instead, focus on safety and calm and ask yourself, how can I make this moment feel safe for them? How can I make this moment feel safe for them? So when things are out of control, think about this. The emotions are going to rise. Pause, take a breath. Your energy directly affects theirs. You know that, right? So acknowledge what they feel. You're upset. I see that. Respond with kindness. How can I help you? And then redirect it. Like, let's go for a walk, or let's get that snack, or how about if I get you into your comfort chair and put on some nice music for you? So check the triggers: pain, fatigue, and hunger. Those are triggers: pain, fatigue, and hunger. Make sure those aren't going on. And even the experts tell you that it's just okay. There's always going to be times, and some days are going to be better than others. The peace is going to start with you. All right. So you might be thinking, Suzanne, this sounds easier said than done. And you're absolutely right. This takes practice. It takes practice over and over again. And when you're already burning out and you already don't have a lot of energy, who wants to add one more thing? But this is practice. And it's about changing the way you respond. So when you stop arguing, you stop correcting, you stop reasoning, you create that calm, you protect the relationship, and you finally get those moments of peace back. You'll see how this works. Just redirect, redirect. So let this be your permission slip. That's something I used to give my patients. And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up with compassion. And just don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter. And I'll put the link below, or the Caregiver's Starter Guide at caregiverhaven.com. You got this. You don't have to do it alone. We've all been there, and we'll still be there for you. Take care. Bye-bye.